The class of 2017, the largest class in our history. And I think you have a sense, even from today, what a plethora of personality, to say the least, resides in this class. When we think of the exuberance of JJ and its tome of recommending others for an award, Monica Burke's passion for truth, Tim Cook as the leader of his clan here at the college, Peter Corkery's passion for life, Cameron's creativity and musical genius, Tim Egan's pipe, Felicity's love of Latin, Paul Flagg's guitar, Stephen Feckler to show us what virtue looks like, Andrew Ford's charm, and Elizabeth to keep him humble, even on the basketball court. It's true. Affirmative action at Christendom. All right. Without Anastasia to be with Mikey, Sarah to catch salmon in the summer, Hannah Gordon to prove that blondes can be smart, Sophia, who will always be for me the princess of Doe Castle on Sheephaven Bay, for Thomas Hepler as a man of character, and the piety of Matthew Kane, David Keatley, John Ross. What a great example you have been. The Kelly clan, proud of their Irish heritage here. The Ellises as well, who have a heavy dose of Harrigan, which spells Harrigan, okay? Where would we be without Joey Kuplik's hair? Don't want to be superficial, but I mean, lecturing as well, leadership of the rugby team, but the hair was amazing, really. Without Mary Kate and Margaret singing, playing the organ, love of virtue, without Cappy for her love of the good and her joy, for Nicole to be here to keep an eye on young Michael, who is always up to something, for Joe and Mike Maman, the dynamic duo, that great combo of speed and strength, for Patrick and Rosie to show us good things and great families can happen up in Canada. Grace Mooney's passion for life and all that it has to offer, which we just witnessed. For Sochi's incredible running ability. Sarah Paget to man the college phones and always be there with a smile. Joseph Pennyfather to be the coolest philanthropy guy ever in Christendom history. Hannah Rady to radiate her incredible joy and her beautiful harp playing as well. Jonathan Reineking for his vocal dexterity and loquaciousness. Mary Solitario as the RA on campus and also on the mound as well. For Evelyn to help the theology department flourish. For Pete Tapsack for his thundering joyfully on his mandolin. Angela Townsend to achieve the impossible, to make us all look forward to announcements. Madeline Troll to act in and direct our plays. Claire and Elodie's joie de vivre, and also their buoyancy have playfully reminded us that going to war without the French is like going hunting without an accordion player. Vive la France. Without Aidan, don't laugh too much, please. Without Aidan and Nicholas Wenzel to manifest competence in pretty much everything that they do. Rachel Wiener's zeal for the faith. Luke Williams as the poet laureate of the college. And Brandon Williamson's gripping theatrical performances over 4 years. Of course, we could go on and on for each and every one. That's the type of personality that is found in this class. You truly are a great class, and we will miss you all. You know, one of the great challenges that we are all facing and that you will be facing is the great divorce between culture and truth. I experienced this in an existential way in Dublin when I encountered in a pub a proud Irishman who was an atheist, who after he saw that I prayed grace before sipping my glass of Guinness that I had, and I think Guinness is worthy of saying grace before you consume that wonderful beverage, he looked at me after he saw me make the sign of the cross and boldly proclaimed to me, "I'm an atheist, thank God." Yes, there's a great divorce. But I would like to share with you today a personal story that was brought to mind just a short time ago by a conversation with Hannah, Emily, Rachel, Maddie, and Josie up at my house when we were having the philanthropy board dinner. My youngest daughter, Dove, who some of you here know, before she entered the Poor Clare cloister, expressed a desire and a deep longing to visit Ireland just one last time. And we, of course, being severe, judgmental parents, agreed to that request. We landed at Shannon and immediately set out for the wild west coast to County Clare. It was a stormy and windy day. We had trouble even closing the doors on the vehicle. But she wanted to see just one last time the majestic cliffs of Moher, sheer cliffs that rise dramatically 700 feet above the surging Atlantic below. When we arrived at our destination, a little jet lagged, a sign was put out that said, "Access to the cliffs and the parking area were closed." A gale was blowing off the Atlantic with winds over 80 miles an hour. Now, of course, we ignored the sign. We're not going to let a gale stop us. We got out of the car, and I remember Dove set off for the cliffs. I grabbed Kathy's hand and arm, and we battled the wind with a great deal of difficulty, leaning forward, trying to stay low, because it really was a very strong gale. Fortunately, the visitor center there at the Cliffs of Moher was still open, and I took Kathy inside for shelter and noticed that Dove had not gone inside. And so I need to go out and look, where is she? What is she doing? I was a little concerned. And when I went outside and looked up, there was a vision I saw that is still deeply etched in my mind. She was standing up on the top of the highest cliff, of those Cliffs of Moher, very dramatic, with wild wind blowing through her dark hair in the wind, and she was standing there joyfully, taking in all the power and the grandeur of that storm that was just pouring off the Atlantic. When I began to struggle towards her in the cliffs, I saw an amazing sight. The wind on that day was blowing so hard that it was blowing the sea foam up from the crashing waves 700 feet below. And that surf and the foam was coming up with these enormous bubbles of foam, and then they were blowing over the land directly at me. It was surreal. It was an amazing sight and an incredible experience. For as the bubble wind-driven foam hit me in the face, it contained within itself all of the freshness, all of the exuberance of the sea. It bore within itself the tangy, salty taste of reality that the ocean always gives us. It was a taste which refreshed and also exhilarated me. Now, Christendom, as you all know, all of you graduates know, has sometimes been pejoratively referred to as a bubble. In the past 4 years, in this so-called bubble, what have you been doing? You've been studying philosophy in pursuit of wisdom. You have been studying theology with its knowledge of God and His mysteries. You have studied history with its rich patrimony of faith and real heroes who have made a difference in the great march of time. Great works of literature in which you have discussed what men and women of genius and profound insight have given to us in their writings. Political science, you've been examining the common good and the nature of a just social order. Classical languages, which are the intellectual scabbard of the mind, and also mathematics, and of course, Euclidean proofs with that certitude that the mind truly can know something. For 4 years, you have been studying the perennial things. The great questions all of you have wrestled with. Who is man? What is the meaning of life? Who is God? Why am I here? And what am I called to do over these 4 years? In addition, many of you went overseas. Many of you went to Rome to study. Many of you went to Ireland to study. A number of you traveled on mission trips to Banica, to Honduras, to Peru. A number of you, with Mike Brown, went in and distributed goods to the homeless in D.C. Many of you also participated regularly in Shield of the Roses, counseling and praying in the face of the great evil of our time, which is abortion. You have been striving also while you are here through the work of Student Life and our great chaplains who contribute so much to life here, to live a life of virtue centered on Christ and the sacraments, and try to live faith, hope, and charity, not just intellectually, but concretely in your daily life, striving for greatness. Whatever this so-called bubble is, it is really and truly an immersion. The bubble is an immersion in what is true, what is good, and what is beautiful, and I would add also what is noble. And even if we fall short on occasion, as St. John Paul the Great reminded the youth of the world, we are not the sum of our weaknesses and our failures. We are the sum of the Father's love for us and our real capacity to become the image of His Son. It struck me that this so-called bubble truly is the real world. The bubble is the real world. For you, like your fathers and all your forefathers before them, worship a person, and you are part of an entity that is venerated and loved because it is both concrete and it is real, in a way in which no myth, no ideology, nor any falsehood ever could be real. Countless numbers of our brothers and sisters in our troubled world are trapped inside miasmic bubbles of secular ideologies, untruths, confusion, doubt, and despair where there seems no way out. So concluding, my hope, my prayer, and my charge to you graduates of 2017 this day is may you always carry this concrete reality of what is true, what is good, and what is beautiful and noble within you wherever you go. May you always bear Christ and His church joyfully in your heart. And when you encounter, as you will, toxic bubbles which have imprisoned your brothers and sisters, may you joyfully and confidently, a fruit of your education here, share the bursting forth of your bubble with that strong breeze of the Spirit and all its freshness and all the exuberance of the gospel, that freshness and exuberance that flows from the eternal sea, that it may wash over them and guide them to the one who alone can set them free. Instaurare omnia in Christo, restore all things in Christ, and know that our hearts and our prayers go with you. God bless you all.